So someone asked me, how did I find spirituality after leaving the Jehovah's Witnesses organization, and what do I believe now? We'll talk about that in this video. Hey guys, welcome to my channel, K-Fits My Life. So I was asked a question a few days ago by a person that saw one of my videos on YouTube. I won't say her whole name, but her name was Ty, and she asked me about finding spirituality after leaving the Jehovah's Witnesses organization, and how did I find it, or what do I believe, I would guess would be the question. And that's a very layered, multi-layered question. I would say the first thing that happened when I left was I didn't feel that I was unable to look into other things, or to simply just not believe anything at all. Now, a lot of people have asked me, what do I believe since leaving the organization? And I guess I'll go into that now. I believe that there is a creator, but I don't believe that the creator or the God that is spoken about in the Bible is the actual creator, or the actual way that it actually is. I'm saying actually a lot. I don't believe in the God of the Bible. And one thing that actually led to me being able to think that way was not having the pressure on me to believe the way that I had been taught my entire life. After leaving the organization, I felt free to actually investigate other ways of thinking. And one of the first things that I remember looking into was the Tai Ching and Taoism. And I read a little bit about Buddhism and all the other isms out there, I guess you could say. But the main thing that I started to believe, especially after the dream that I talked about in one of my other videos, forgive me, I've been working out and I hurt my shoulder, but anyway, that's irrelevant. One of the things that I started to think was, okay, do I believe in the God of the Bible? And most of the stories in the Bible that I read, I kind of thought, I don't understand why a loving God would do those things. Even going back to Adam and Eve, I always thought that God tricked them, according to the story in the Bible. Why would you create two people and then allow the most evil being in existence to talk to them, and then penalize them for being tricked when they have absolutely no way of knowing as much as that being? That being has been around since the beginning of creation, and they were just created. And so in my mind, for God to punish them as a result of him allowing someone that he knows is the great deceiver to deceive them, it didn't make much sense to me. And then, the story of Job, with Job being a good person and God basically placing a bet with the most evil being in existence over whether or not this person is going to curse him to his face, and just sitting back and watching and allowing this man to lose everything, and then just saying, see, I was right. It didn't sit well with me. And then being a black man, knowing that really the only reason that Black people were exposed to this form of Christianity was because of slavery. And so for God to allow slavery to be the main way that Black people were introduced to Christianity would actually mean that we would have to be thankful for slavery, because slavery exposed us to Christianity. It didn't sit well with me. It didn't make much sense. So I started to no longer really put much stock in the Bible itself. And I've always thought that spirituality and godliness was something that was imparted to us at the time of us being conceived. So I didn't really understand why, if God loved everyone equally, that we would have to go to another person to find out about him. If he loved us so much, then it seemed that we would all have equal access. I shouldn't have to go to some preacher who's charging me money for information that he didn't even conceive of to find out about a being that he has never seen or talked to. So I really stopped believing in Christianity at its core. And I just started to believe that the Creator imparted creation, the gift of creation of life, to all of us. And if he gave us all a part of him or it, then we are all divine within ourselves. So I choose to think that divinity is within all of us, and there's really no need to look to an outside source for that divinity. And I actually started to look into a lot of African ways of thinking and African practices. And even though they seem like mythology to a lot of people, it actually made a lot of sense to me, and it connected with me on a very deep level. And I'm going to make another video about this. But the main thing that leaving the Jehovah's Witnesses organization, it allowed me to be free enough to explore, and it allowed me to not feel guilty about disagreeing with something and questioning something. Being a part of the organization prevents you from feeling free enough to ask questions and to say, I don't agree with that answer. So when I left the organization, the main thing that helped me find my own spirituality was the freedom to not feel guilty about exploring other things. And I think that is the main thing that keeps people in the organization, because I never thought that there was anything outside of Christianity and the Christianity that the Jehovah's Witnesses teach. I never really thought there was anything outside of that. And there's a lot more out there than that. And I think the main thing that will help people to find spirituality is to drop the weight of that burden of feeling like you can't explore other things. That was the main thing that helped me to find my own spirituality. And now that I've found that, I feel a lot more free, and I feel a lot more happy. I don't feel as guilty about making mistakes, or not even just making mistakes. I don't feel guilty about thinking the way I do. The main thing that happened when I first left was I felt really guilty about questioning what I had been taught my entire life. And I no longer feel that guilt. I don't feel bad to tell someone if they ask me, are you a Christian? I'll say no. Do you believe in Christianity? I'll say no. Are you saved? I say from whom? Do you believe in Jesus? I say I believe that a lot of people believe in Jesus. I believe that Jesus may have been a person born on earth named Jesus. There's people on earth named Jesus right now. But do I believe that an alien being beamed his DNA from space to earth into a woman and gave birth to a supernatural being named Jesus? No, I don't believe that. It would make an amazing science fiction movie, but I don't believe that. So I guess in answer to this person's question and a lot of other people's questions about how do you find spirituality after leaving the organization, and what helped you find spirituality, the main thing I would say to how is just to no longer feel guilty about the search. That is what keeps you shackled to the belief system that you were born into or that you were part of for so many years. And the only way to free yourself of that burden is to let it go. So that's what I did. And I've gotten a lot of messages from people saying, even like in the last video that I posted about that person that kind of ridiculed me for what I was doing. That person said, you're driving down a dangerous road. And that is because the people who are in the organization do feel that if you say anything that goes against what we've been taught, then you're driving down a dangerous road. But if that road leads to freedom, it's not a dangerous road. It may be dangerous and there may be obstacles, but if the road leads to freedom, then it's worth the travel. It's worth driving around obstacles. It's worth all the trouble it takes to get to the destination, even if the journey is difficult. And the journey is difficult, to leave your way of thinking and to find a new way of thinking and to allow yourself the freedom and the ability to say, I no longer believe this way. So what do I believe now? What makes me feel good when I think about spirituality? And for me, it's thinking that the same way that I have to be held accountable for the negative things that happen to me or that I do, I have to be held accountable for the wonderful things that I do. I don't want to just be held accountable for mistakes. I want to be held accountable for achievements. So when I do good things and good things happen that I create, because I don't believe that good things are just falling into your lap or given to you by a being that's in space. I believe that the power of my thought creates good opportunities and I attract those things to me. I believe that the Creator gave us all the ability to solve whatever problem that we're faced with. The answers are within us. We don't have to look to space or some being in the sky. I believe that divinity is within us all. And that's empowering for me because it lets me know that my life is in my hands. Whatever happens, good or bad, is a result of the choice that I have made. And I embrace that. And it is the thing that has actually helped me get through all the struggles that I've gone through. Losing everything several times. I've lost everything like 4 times, being homeless, sometimes not knowing where I was going to get my next meal from, not knowing if I was going to get through the night because it was so cold, or getting through the night because it was so hot, or getting sick and throwing up in the parking lot at night because that's where I lived. But those were all results of choices that I made. And so I give myself the accountability for all the good things that happen and the bad things that happen. I assume that responsibility, and I don't ask for help when things are going bad. And I don't say thanks to someone else when things are going good. I take it all because it's my life. So that, I think the main thing that helped me find spirituality after leaving the organization was the accountability for everything that I put upon myself. I know it's not easy, and I know people may believe differently than I do. But I can honestly say that me holding myself accountable for the good things and the bad things allowed me to get from where I was physically and mentally and spiritually to where I am now. So my belief now is that the creator, the creators, whatever or whomever they may be, are a part of me, and they're a part of everyone that I see and talk to. So that having been said, when I see someone, I try to impart or recognize the divinity within that person. And I would hope that person would reciprocate that and see the divinity within me, so that way we can see the divinity within each other and get along in a way that two divine beings would, with their recognition of the divinity within each other. So to answer your question and several others, I found spirituality after leaving the organization simply by allowing myself the freedom to think for myself and to not hold myself in a negative light for the answers that I found. And that's basically it. So I hope that answers that question. I'm going to be posting more videos about that as time goes on. I hope this video helps someone who has just left the organization and is trying to find their way spiritually. Again, just allow yourself to explore. Give yourself the freedom to wonder. As a wise person said, I would rather have a question that I can't answer than an answer that I can't question. Allow yourself the freedom to ask questions to other people and to yourself. And don't be hard on yourself for asking those questions. And don't be hard on yourself for finding answers that go against what you've been programmed to say were the answers. So again, I hope you guys found this helpful. If so, please like, share, and subscribe. Click the bell so that you can see when I upload new content. And you can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff. I'll put links to that in the description. And again, thanks guys for watching. And I will see you all on the next one, all right? Peace.